Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Sentinels of a Forgotten Age match up against the Greenskins. I'm leading the Tomb Kings today, and Tesla is leading the Greenskins. So for the Tomb King army that I have brought, we have Cetra the Imperishable with Incantation of Cursed Blades. We have Incantation of Protection, Incantation of Desiccation, and then we have Wrath of Petra and the Blessed Blade of Petra. Also racking up the leadership department is a Necrotech with just a little bit of heals for the constructs, which we have plenty of. So for the constructs, of course, we have the Ushabti. We have 2 of those. We have the Chosen of the Gods, as well as a regular. Actually, it's just okay. So it's just the one Chosen of the Gods, and then we have the Screaming Skull Catapults. We have 2 of those, and of course we have front line, a mix-up of skeleton warriors, and then we have some more skeleton spearmen in the back protecting the Screaming Skull Catapults. And we have King Nekesh's Scorpion Legion, and we have the Kepra Guard ROR unit for the Tomb Guard. So that is a very good anti-infantry unit, especially against the Greenskins. And then we take a look at what the Greenskins have brought for us today, and we have Skarsnik leading the forces. We have Fermented Fungi, and we also have Spite of the Bad Moon. We have the Night Goblin Shaman with Vindictive Glare and Sneaky Stabbin', and then we have the Goblin Big Boss with They Need Stabbin'. For the rest of the forces, we have an initial front skirmishing force of a couple of Forest Goblin Spider Riders, and then we have a nice cavalry unit. We have a few units of Orc Boar Big Guns. We have 3 of those. We have 2 Snotling Pump Wagons. And then for the range department, we have some Orc Arrow Boys, as well as the Rusty Arrows. Some nice armor debuffs, so that'd be good against like the Ushabti and Cetra himself. Get some good armor sundering there. And then the front line is Orc Boys. We have some Night Goblins and just more Orc Boys for the front line. And that will wrap things up for the army, so let's get things going. As the catapults are getting repositioned a little bit to get in range, so the range department is definitely on the side of the Tomb Kings, and yeah, the Greenskins will need to advance here. That would be Vindictive Glare that the Greenskins have brought would be hopefully helpful to kind of snipe out some of these Screaming Skull Catapult models, but the Ushabti should be pretty much in range, as well as, yeah, the Greenskins have now gotten in range of them. So that'll do pretty good, like even against Cav once they come out of the tree line. But right now, just kind of pretty much shooting into a lot of the infantry. And the Screaming Skull Catapults have a nice leadership debuff as well on top of their artillery, or damage by artillery. Nice. So a shot coming in, kind of missing its mark with most of its stuff. Maybe kind of clipping these Screaming Skull Catapults and just kind of clipping through some of the spearmen. But the shots are raining in. We have the Chosen of the God now opening up as well. And we just kind of get a nice ranged firepower coming in from the Tomb Kings as the Greenskins are advancing. Well, now we have Skarsnik coming up with Cetra's kind of looking to maybe get some nice free charges in, but with Skarsnik right there, as well as the Goblin Big Boss, yeah, he's going to kind of hang back and let his infantry and firepower do most of the work. So now the Greenskins are making their play with their cavalry, as their cavalry does come out of the tree line. But so far, especially these Orc Arrow Boys have taken quite a bit of damage and are routing from the firepower from the Screaming Skull Catapults. But now we have the cavalry, as the catapults are now kind of aiming their targets off into them. If they're able to get shots, they'll actually do fairly decently. I believe they are anti-infantry. Take a quick look. I don't know, just overall damage. But yeah, now the Chosen of the Gods, so it's firing into these Orc Boar Big Guns is actually going to be very good for them. They have good armor-piercing damage, and yeah, this their shot that when it fires in, where it kind of breaks apart, does really good damage against a mass of troops. But if you take a look over onto the right flank, we actually have had the Goblin Big Boss has already been taken out. I'm sorry I missed that, but yeah, the Cetra just completely took out that Goblin Big Boss, getting into the infantry, giving a nice blast, routing them off. So this right flank for the Tomb Kings is going very, very well. Now the left flank, on the other hand, is going a little less well, as the Snotling pump wagons, the skirmishers, and the cavalry have all kind of really put a lot of pressure onto that side, as pretty much the front line has broken, and now the cavalry guard do have to try and hold that line as best they can, as well as these Ushabti. But now the firepower is just raining in onto Cetra, who is rampage as well, from Skarsnik's ability. And he's taking quite a bit of damage, and he is getting that armor sundering from these Rusty Errors. So Skarsnik and Night Goblin Shaman are able to do fairly well, as the wall goes off right as these Orc Warbrigands get into combat with him. So Cetra's going to be taking quite a bit of damage. And the cavalry now for the Greenskins is now getting a little bit into the back line, is now compromising these Chosen of the Gods, and the Spearmen are cycling around to assist, but now these Snotling Pump Wagons are now shutting down these Screaming Skull Catapults, and the Skeleton Spearmen are trying to push them off. Now, if one of these Snotling Pump Wagons should now be able to go over to that other unit of catapults, who's now completely open right now. There is no support other than Cetra himself, who is being chased off by kind of these Orc Warbrigands, trying to get out of range of that firepower from the Greenskin Daka line. But yeah, now the Orc Warbrigands have finally gotten onto these Screaming Skull catapults, but the Ushabti are really kind of what's going to be the bulk of the stopping power at this point, as we have two units pretty much at full health, as now Cetra is now trying to get on top of these Orc Warbrigands. Looks like, alright, so some did not go down there, but yeah, now these two Force Goblin are now effectively kind of shutting down this last unit of Screaming Skull Catapults on the far left flank of the Tomb Kings, keeping them really offline pretty well. But we do have, so here is that other summon of the Ushabti, able to push off the Orc Warbrigands, but they were not able to salvage the Chosen of the Gods. But they are going to do very well against the Snotling Pump Wagons, as now Cetra, who is very low on health, but is coming into the charge. He does get rampaged, but at this point there's not really a whole lot other than the Greenskin Daka line that can really punish him. I mean, we do have Skarsnik here. Well, he did take a nice hit from Skarsnik there, and he is very, very low. He is apparently stable binding still, but he is very low, getting a nice blast off before he is about to crumble into the ground, as these Ushabti are also reaching the end of their limit. Balance power right now is a little bit into the Tomb King's favor, but a lot of the line has kind of broken down. A lot of that stopping power, though, is from the Necrotech and the two Ushabti, as well as the Kepler Guard, because Cetra is going to be going down now. He is at critical binding. Any second he is going to start to crumble, but the Necrotech, who is an anti-infantry character, is against Skarsnik, who is also an infantry-size lord. So that Necrotech is going to do a lot of damage to Skarsnik himself. The Night Goblin Shaman is also wavering right now. He's actually terrified, but Cetra does go down to the firepower of the Greenskins. So the Tomb Kings have lost their lord, but the Necrotech is still at very full health, as well as the two Ushabti units, and the Kepler Guard is still faring fairly well. But these charges in from the Orc Warbrigands is really going to wear them down fairly well. So if the Greenskins can continue to cycle in and kind of isolate this Kepler Guard unit, and then get, I think, yeah, the Orc Air Boys, they really need to kind of start getting these Ushabti down. But yeah, Skarsnik, though, is routing, as well as the Night Goblin Shaman, but they should be both coming back. I mean, they're about a third health right now. But if we take a look at pretty much all of the infantry units are just kind of scattered here and there. It is a very scrappy fight at this point. The Ushabti in combat with the Orc Warbrigands, and that's actually a fairly good combat for them. But now the Kepler Guard is actually kind of getting into the missile units a little bit, trying to shut them down as best they can. I think that's really what the Tomb Kings really kind of need to do. If they can stop this last amount of firepower from going in, then that'll be very good for them. But of course, we still have the skirmishers, who I think they kind of need to pull back a little bit, because they were starting to waver a bit, and if they get too close to these units, they can very easily just be routed off the field. I think Distant Glare actually firing in, clipping the Necrotech, doing a good amount of damage. But now the Snotling Pump Wagons get a nice charge in. They don't really want to be staying in combat here. Just kind of pull through, and that's kind of what the Greenskins really need to be doing, is just kind of cycling in and out. But the Greenskins have lost some of their mobility here, as one of the Orc Warbrigands has shattered. And we take a look at kind of what they have left. So they have Snotling Pump Wagon here, we have Skarsnik, and we have two of the Forest Goblin Spider Riders. And looks like, yeah, I think, yeah, the Rusty Heirs have used up all their ammo, which that is a little unfortunate at this point, because a lot of the high armor pieces of the Ushabti are not going to be able to get that armor sundering. But now, the Necrotech is where he wants to be right now, engaged with Skarsnik, surrounded by some of his own troops, and the Kepler Guard kind of screen out the Rusty Heirs, who aren't really much of a threat in the infantry department. But yeah, the Kepler Guard have been rampaged, so at least, I mean, they're no longer under control of the Tomb Kings, though there's nothing really to punish that rampage there, as they just rout off the Rusty Heirs, and the Necrotech now is chasing Skarsnik as a Vindictive Glare is about to get shot in, misses the Necrotech and actually clips Skarsnik there. A little bit of friendly fire as the balance bar is starting to push a little bit more into the Tomb King's favor, and that will be your game. So we take a quick look at the after battle report, and we take a quick look and see how the Ushabti just did very, very well. 150 kills apiece. A lot of that was in combat with some of these Orc-Boar Biggins. A lot of the frontline damage. They were able to just really chew through the Greenskin force without taking a whole lot of damage themselves. I mean, this unit was at full health. They didn't lose a single model the entire time. But yeah, I'm trying to think. I mean, maybe bringing in some more. I've seen the Doom Diver Catapult in this matchup, and they do actually fairly well with doing damage to Ushabti and, I mean, other artillery pieces as well, as long as the Greenskins are able to keep the Ushabti away from the Doom Diver. I think the Doom Diver actually does have a fairly useful niche here. I was not really saying niche. The Doom Diver is a good unit, but that's just something that could have been used. I mean, there's a lot of different ways the Greenskins can play this. They generally do have the disadvantage against the Tomb Kings, but it was a very scrappy match with Tesla. This was part of the Snotling League. But yeah, that was a very fun match, and I hope you all enjoyed the battle, and as always, have a good one.